Hi, this is Isabel Florence, and you are listening to You Are Light podcast, a safe space where we talk about mental health and well-being. Hello, welcome back. How are you? I hope you're having a lovely week, enjoying the change in the weather. Isn't it incredible to be able to feel different seasons every year? The ending and the beginning of a new season is always a kind of a ritual for me, and allows me to reconsider my life and implement changes accordingly. And I love implementing these changes because they allow me to be more present in the moment. When the weather starts to get a little colder and I start drinking more herbal tea and enjoying more peaceful evenings on the sofa, cozy, comfortable clothes. I love jumpers, blankets. And today is a beautiful day, really sunny, blue skies in London. So I would encourage you this week to take some time to really appreciate and chew on this moment of change in the seasons. Bring some mindfulness to it and gratitude for the things that you like about this new chapter. Anyway, let's dive in. Today we're going to talk about pride, and more specifically self-pride or self-worth. So I went looking in the dictionary for the meaning of the word, and it says, a feeling of deep pleasure or satisfaction derived from one's own achievements, the achievements of those with whom one is closely associated, or from qualities or possessions that are widely admired. When I think about pride, I associate it with a feeling rather than as a direct result of my accomplishments, which I think it's an interesting thing to explore. I haven't necessarily felt self-worth every time I have accomplished something that seems of a high standard from other people's viewpoint. For me, I have felt self-worth and pride at moments where I am actually in peace with who I am, in peace with the true self that lies within me. And as we said last week, when I feel that I'm living honestly as the being that I am fully. There has been moments in my life where I have accomplished very impressive things, but it's not from them that I have found my self-worth and my self-pride. I think the most important thing for us to understand is that you have to value your worth as a human being. So your worth is not connected to your achievements or your possessions. Perhaps your qualities as a human being and the qualities that are connected to your true self, not qualities that you are told you should have, right? I think that's really important. Another thing that I think is important to point out is it's very easy to forget what you have been through. The difficulties, the struggles. It's very easy to be focusing on the future constantly without stopping to take account of the past. And it's in the past that you will see the person that you were before, a person that is different to the person you are today, someone who has evolved, someone who has changed. So you don't necessarily have to focus on what you have accomplished, what you have done in a positive way. You can also take account of what you have survived through, of how you have reacted to very difficult situations, of how you have stayed true to yourself in moments of suffering, and how you are here now. Because there's a lot of people that aren't, and maybe some people in your shoes wouldn't have become the person you are now, wouldn't have had the strength to go through what you went through. So remember not only your accomplishments, not only your achievements, your skills, your performance, your hard effort, but also remember the tough times and how you have made it through. You should be proud of yourself for that. Then we also have to consider the fact that your definition of success, not only success in a professional sense, but success as a human being, might be a different definition to someone else's, might be different to what we have been told as success. We all have outside indicators of what we should accomplish, of what success means as a student, as a professional, as a parent, as a friend, as a partner. There's always an ideal that people share as gospel, but your ideal is different to everyone else's. And usually the things we are told to be the ultimate image of success isn't. So you have to focus on your own journey, on your own goals, on your own idea of success that will bring you pride, that will bring you more self-worth. And how do you find out what that is through that first step. It's awareness, self-reflection. So you have to take time to understand who you are, to understand what you want, to understand what you don't want, which sometimes, most of the times, comes before you realize what you want. Because you have to go through what you don't want to get to what you want, to then know what you want to focus on. I also think it's very important to detach ourselves from other people's pride of us. Again, because their idea of success is different to ours. Their values are different to yours. I spent a lot of my life trying to please a parent, trying to make a parent proud. And I think most children naturally feel that way. And it requires self-reflection to fall out of that natural path as an adult and to understand that your parents' values might be different to yours. That what they see as success might be different to what you see. Your triumph can only be determined by yourself. We see time and time again people that are in the view of the masses, very successful, doing very well, thriving, as everyone sees from an outside perspective. But if you go into their lives, a lot of them are deeply depressed, deeply lost, lonely, terrified. Not all of them, but some of them. So it's important to understand that how other people see us is not necessarily what will make us happy. And it shouldn't be, because again, their idea of someone doing well, of someone thriving, can be different to your idea of that. Really find the picture of your flourishing self. What does that look like? It can be someone working in the city, making a load of money, living in a beautiful flat, going to very expensive restaurants. That can be your idea of it. Or it can be living amongst nature with a dog by your side, eating your breakfast in the sun, and having time to read every day. There's no right or wrong. You just have to understand what is yours, disconnected to what you've been told it should be. And it takes time. It takes a lot of time and a lot of self-reflection. But it's worth it, because when you find it, it's like you found a key to your own happiness. You won't find this key in a book. You won't find it in a documentary or a movie or a job or a relationship. That key needs to be found by your exploration of your own psyche, your own subconsciousness. There's this experiment that I watched a few days ago where a classroom full of students was given a piece of paper with 3 jumbled words in them. It was just a mix of letters, and the teacher says to them, let's all do the first word first. Find a word in these letters, any word. It's basically like Scrabble, right? You have the letters and you have to make a word with it. And half of the students are able to do it and the other half can't. She says the same thing about the second one. Let's do the second one together now. Same thing happens. Let's do the third one together now. Same thing happens. And then she tells all the students that half of the room had unresolvable problems in the first two words. There was no word in the first two set of letters for half of the room, but it affected how they dealt with the third exercise, the third word, because they couldn't then find the word in those letters when there was one. So what this means is that they had their confidence knocked, not because they weren't able to do it, but because it wasn't possible for them to do it. It was an unresolvable problem. But it still affected their confidence, and it meant that they couldn't resolve the last problem like the other rest of the group that had their confidence way up high. So we have to understand that our self-belief can be manipulated. It's not static. And this self-belief will influence the rest of our lives. How we approach any problem, how we approach any difficulty. How can we manipulate our self-belief? The main thing that we have to focus on is our self-talk. How do we communicate with ourselves? Do you believe that you're worthy? Do you believe that you are capable? How do you talk to yourself? Is it always negative? Maybe start pointing out some positives, some of the skills you have, some of the achievements you have been able to accomplish. You are the master of your fate, but you have to believe that you are able, that you are capable. You have to remember to have a growth mindset, to believe that you can grow, that you can become better at anything that you put your mind to. Because this is true. People are not just born fantastic at things. They might have a talent, but that talent brings them self-belief and it makes them work really hard because they believe they can do it. So how about we swap it and we start with the self-belief? I think the culture here in England sometimes doesn't allow us to credit our own achievements. I don't think there's such a block in America. People are able to sell themselves, but there's a fear of becoming arrogant when you do that here, or self-involved. Arrogance, which is a negative term, is in fact lack of self-belief, not the contrary. Deep down, arrogance is insecurity. Because the person that is arrogant needs the approval of everyone else and seeks it constantly, either by bragging or by asking people's opinions, by showing off. It's a lack rather than an abundance. I have seen this a lot in my life. The insecurity of those that are deeply narcissistic. Behind the walls of strength and capability that you see of a narcissistic person, there's pain, there's self-doubt, there's lack of self-love. If you focus on becoming truly proud of your achievements, proud of who you are as a human being, proud of your life, you will not become arrogant as a result. You'll actually probably speak a little less because you won't be seeking approval constantly. You'll be more comfortable with who you are, more in peace. It's a really beautiful space to be in. And I'm happy to say that I found it, but I can't say that it's something that sticks around all the time. It comes and goes. But I do think that as I grow older, I am learning to become more and more proud of who I am. It's really beautiful. Here's another subject that has taken a lot longer to discuss than I thought initially. So I'll continue talking about pride next week. For now, I want you to remember that who you are is more important than what you've done. That will create more change in the world because what you do is a reflection of who you are. So let's focus on positive self-talk this week. I'll do that myself as well. Thank you for listening. I'm gonna go and sit on my couch with my dog and a blanket, maybe a cup of tea, and edit this podcast. I'll see you guys next week. enjoy the crisp weather. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for listening. All the links are written down on the show notes, as well as resources for anyone struggling with their mental health. Don't forget to subscribe so you're notified when we release new episodes. Also, feel free to share our podcast with your friends and family. And if you'd like to get involved, explore our content, or support our work, you can by visiting our website www.yourlight.earth. That's yourlight.earth. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at u.r.light. Have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.